Hey there, we are the Gratitude Girls.
Good evening. The Gratitude Girls are in the house. My name is Kathryn Asaro Myers, affectionately known as Rara, and I'm speaking to you tonight from Niagara on the Lake, Ontario, Canada, and my wonderful partner, Laurie.
Hey everyone, I am Laurie Delk Radecki. I am outside of Nashville, Tennessee, here in the States.
So is this the first time that you're in your new location doing the Gratitude Girls show?
I think it is, yeah. We've
A
been here almost 3 weeks, so yeah, definitely it is.
celebration. We said that last show. That's amazing. Well, congratulations, Laurie, to you on your new home and all the new wonderful things that are going on with you. I'm so grateful that you're my partner and that we are partners together. Every month when we do our show, actually throughout the course of the month, I think about the days, like, is this Gratitude Girls Day? And we sort of revolve our life around Gratitude Girls in our home, right? Everything is about Gratitude Girls. It's just, I'm not Kathryn, I'm not Rara, I am Gratitude Girls. It's like, it's Gratitude Girls Day. And we love that because it's really branded in our life, even with our friends. It's like, oh, it's Gratitude Girls Night? Oh, okay. Like, it is just one of those things after oh gosh, let's talk about some of the history. I was going to say 7 years. We have an anniversary. We have so many things that have come up, and time is flying with all the things that are going on in this world, all over the world. The show must go on for us, and we know that, and we are always grateful for what we have and who we are and who we are with. I was just wondering if you could start a little bit and share, like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? And how did this happen to us that we would hold space for so long and continue to do a show about gratitude?
Yeah, so Kathryn and I are both in a direct sales company that we send out love and greeting cards and gifts all over the world. And it's a direct sales company that actually Kathryn and I met on stage. So in our company, we have at our international conventions, we have a theme each year. And then each year there's one person that wins the award for that theme for the year. And they're picked by your peers of other distributors and customers. So all the thousands and hundreds of thousands of customers and distributors, they turn in their votes of who they think should win this award, who exudes that, whatever that theme is. And so 2013, the theme was gratitude. And so Cody, our CEO, got up on stage and he gives all these accolades and reads a couple of the things of why people turned in a certain person. And he ended up calling Kathryn's name. So Kathryn went up on stage, she got the award. I was in the back doing all my techie stuff like I always am, and taking pictures and taking video. And then all of a sudden our CEO said that this time, for the first time ever, that there was going to be a tie. And so he started giving the name or the accolades of the second person. And I kept trying to think, who could that be? Who could that be? And especially when he said how long they had been in the company. And I thought, well, there's only a couple people that have been in as long as I have. And so I was still trying to think, who could that be? Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's this person. And then all of a sudden he said my name. So Kathryn and I are actually on different teams, and we met on stage in front of thousands of people. And so with that, we just we knew that nothing happens by coincidence, right? There's a reason for everything. So we knew that. And then it was kind of like one of those things, like they say in dating, like love at first sight and stuff, except this was like love at first sight for business partners, best friends, everything all together. And so right away, just literally within like 2 or 3 minutes, Gratitude Girls was born. And we were like, well, we'll figure out what we're going to do with it later. And we figured it out really quick. And we've been doing these shows once a month for over 7 years now.
Right. We're in our we are in our 8th year. Laurie, I remember that day. I love living through the moment. Thank you for sharing. And when you speak about it, I go through the whole motion of, I remember my knees shaking, not knowing how I was going to walk up to that stage. And it was part of my I am statements. And it really meant a lot to me to be there. When I heard your name, I remember thinking, I so wanted to meet you. I had heard so many things about you and how you gave the most gifts of anyone in our company. And I thought, what would it be like to receive a gift from somebody who's given more gifts than anyone else? Just, I was wondering, what would that be like? And of course, to our audience, what does Laurie do? She gives me a gift as soon as she meets me. Now, think about that. This amazing woman and partner and best friend of mine does this even without knowing that she was going to meet me. So we stood up on stage, and it was, I don't know if kismet would be an appropriate word. You know, we felt something. I remember we walked down the steps and we held hands, and we knew that this was a moment. And I'd love to believe that Cody designed it. You know, I'd love to, like, he couldn't choose that we won, but I'd love to believe that when he found out that we both won or were chosen, that he himself felt that this was meant to be for us as well. Because I don't believe that anything just happens, right? It's really meant to be. So what a wonderful time in our life. I remember what we wore, how we walked, how we went on the stage, how we sat together, how we spent the rest of that time together. It's truly a story. I could actually feel like the wind blowing in my hair, and how we had those moments and those talks. And when we went home, how excited we were to talk about Gratitude Girls. And bam, that was it. It was sealed. Like, we were doing something that we could help people to share their gratitude stories. And when you live through a moment and you have an opportunity to speak about it, it brings all those high vibrations up and those emotions. So we're right back there. I'm going to say May of 2013. I'm not sure if I want to say August or May. I think it was May. I'm going to have to look at the award that I have on my desk here. And so going into our 8th year, once a month, this is what we do. We come up together, no matter where we live, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what month it is, Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's, whatever it is, we're here and we're sharing gratitude. And today we're so honored. We have such an amazing woman with us. And Laurie, I was wondering if you would do the honors to share the wonderful qualities and the skills and the loving heart that Kathryn has with us in our audience today.
Yes, absolutely. So Kathryn is one of my friends that I met, and she has a bunch of kids. She homeschools her kids just like I did. She's a coach like me, and we just had so many similarities that I just thought she's the perfect person to have on our show. She's the perfect theme for gratitude as well, and giving to other people. And so, yes, Kathryn, welcome to our show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and so thankful to be here.
Kathryn, it's great to have you. Can you share with our audience what part of the world you're in?
I am in Wheaton, Illinois. So we're about 45 minutes from Chicago. My husband actually works in Chicago, but is now home since COVID happened. He's been working at home, but we love Wheaton.
How long have you been there?
17 years. This is the longest place we've lived. We actually were in Massachusetts for about 9.5 years before this, but we've called Wheaton our home for the last 17 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Can you, for our audience, so we might have some Canadians and our audience will be from all over the world. Tell us a little bit about that geographically, like where you live and what we can know about it.
Well, Wheaton is like a really fun Midwest town. Wheaton College is about a mile from us. We live about a mile from the train, which is great if you ever want to go into Chicago. And there's just so many fun stores, and it's just been a great place to raise my kids. They have a great park district. We did tons of classes there, great parks. My girls dance in the studio downtown Wheaton. So it's just a lot of fun. Ice cream shops. Just a really nice Midwest town to grow up in.
It feels like it has a fun atmosphere.
Yes, very much.
You're portraying that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So Karen, let's talk a little bit about, like, we will discuss in-depth gratitude, but let's talk about maybe today. What is a day in the life of Karen Sue Smith today?
Well, I mean, COVID's definitely changed my life a lot because both my girls are in college. Sarah just started nursing school, so that's super exciting. But they're all doing their classes on Zoom, so I feel like I'm a mom who's trying to pit crew everybody. Like, okay, we've got the office meeting in this room, and then we've got the nursing class in the back room, and then we've got my other daughter's doing animation in the front room and walking around with her ear pods on, and then Jonathan and I are still doing homeschool high school, so we're just starting. We just read some history, and he was working on his algebra and practicing his guitar, and I was doing the dishes listening to a challenge about just a life on fire and just helping you live your purpose. So that's kind of what my day was like.
So the whole house is allocated for different rooms and different purposes of what people are learning. We probably never thought about this, right? When we bought the house, or you bought the house, that each room would be a classroom in itself or an education room.
Yeah. When my girls went to college, they were so excited. Man, they loved homeschool, and I just think it was an awesome fit for our family. But anyways, they were really excited to get into that classroom experience, and now they're all back online. They're like, well, I guess we're just homeschooling again.
They were able to adapt.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Right. Well, that's great, because I'm sure that a lot of our audience who's watching tonight will have questions for Laurie as well about homeschooling, because most families have been thrown into that without having any desire even, or knowledge or preparation. And I know that that's a subject that you and Laurie can both speak about. Can you just share a little bit about how homeschooling has affected your life?
Well, I think the big thing is I've always really enjoyed just finding out what the unique qualities of my kids are, because they're so different. Like, Sarah's super detailed, Hannah loves a game, Jonathan is super like science, he loves video. And so I just love that I can really help them shine in areas where they're unique. But then also just enjoying, we've read a lot of amazing books together, and I feel like that's been very bonding. And then just to help them develop also just life skills. I think that's sometimes missed in traditional school. And so I've just have this list of like 20, or maybe it's not 20, maybe 15 things, just like life skills, like dealing with finance and character and personal development, all those things that I've been able to touch on with homeschool as well. So it's been a really good fit for our family.
Yes, I love that you say that. I hope that other families can embrace that, because they're doing it, right? So it's a good idea that they can embrace that. And let's learn a little bit about you. You look so positive and so upbeat, and you're smiling, and you're full of color, and you have some wonderful things that you're saying. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes you tick, Karen?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing for me is that my husband and I got married, and we actually moved 6 times in 6 years. And so we were just busy. I love to travel. I was getting my seminary degree. And so I just really didn't really think, I mean, I wanted to have kids, but it wasn't like burning desire. So then when we did get pregnant with our first child, I was actually in the middle of my seminary degree, and it's a long story. I wrote about it in my book, Learning to Parent in the Light. But anyways, he had, they told us at a 20-week ultrasound that he had a problem, and that was most likely wouldn't live. So, but we just decided to carry him. I just felt that God had given him life, and I just wanted to make that life the best possible, whatever it was. But then in the middle of the delivery, I almost died, and it was a very, very traumatic delivery. And so because of that, when I left the hospital, I felt not only had I lost my baby, but I lost the ability to even birth children, because my body was so wrecked. And so I went through a year of just recovery. And they told me when I left the hospital that I probably had AIDS, I probably had hepatitis. I had lost every single platelet in my whole body, and they had to replenish that all. So, I mean, the doctors were just like, it's just a miracle that you survived. But that was just such a defining moment in my life. And I just realized how much I wanted to be a mother. And I hadn't realized that before. So I just started to really be thankful for life. Like, God, just thank you for saving me. And so then I just went through this process, like, you know, I don't know if I can even have another child. No one could tell me, because they're like, your condition is usually diagnosed by autopsy. So they're like, we have no idea if you'll survive another pregnancy. So, but anyways, I just really, really wanted to be a mom then. And it's just like that, Hudson's life created that capacity. And so then when I did have Sarah, I just loved being a mom. Like, I just wanted to make every moment the best it could be. So I just feel like it just kind of really defined my motherhood, and just to really live intentionally. And so I just have tried throughout their whole childhood just to be an intentional mom, and just to really love life, and just bring fun into our days, and just to really celebrate the life that that he's given us.
And Karen, thank you for sharing that. You went from wanting to be a mom to having 3 more children. So tell us about that journey a little bit.
Well, so Hannah was actually kind of a surprise. But it was just so fun, because I think for me, like, even getting pregnant was just so scary. Even after I had Sarah, I had successful delivery and a successful pregnancy, and just was amazing. But I still had all that fear inside of me. And so, but Hannah's just amazing. She is just like, her and Sarah are still really just like best friends. Then I did lose another baby after Hannah, which was, I felt like a very hard thing for me emotionally. I write about that in my book as well. And then Dwight lost his job in Boston, and I love the ocean. It's like one of my very favorite places of the whole world. Like, I just love to go there. And so it was just a hard move for me, but I love Wheaton so much, and I feel like it's been an amazing place for us to raise our family. So then when we got here, then God blessed us with a Jonathan, which was amazing. And he's just been a joy to us from the very beginning. And then I thought we were done. I mean, I loved being a mom. Like, I was just, loved just being with them. And then I did lose another baby after Jonathan, which was probably my hardest loss, actually, of them all. It affected me least physically, but emotionally, it was a very, very hard loss to recover from.
I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned in your book, can you tell us a little bit about what your book is about?
Well, when I was going through all my pregnancy losses, since I have three children in heaven and 3 on earth, I just was really looking for resources to like walk through those losses, because I just feel like it wasn't really talked about. And it was just something that was just, I was holding Jonathan one time, and he's like, "Mom, could you just please stop raining on me?" Because I was like crying all the time. And I don't know, I just think whether it was my hormones or it was a very deep, deep loss. And so I just did so much reading, and I just really wanted to write a book that could be a resource for other women who were walking through that similar pregnancy losses, just to really value the life of their child and how that child could leave a legacy in their lives. And so it's amazing to me, like, how much my kids talk about their brothers and sisters in heaven. So it's just been exciting to see that, that their lives did matter, and that they did make a difference. And it's also helped me just to love just my life and just being a mom more. So I just want that book to be a resource to help women, if they are walking through that loss, and that there is hope that you can find healing in those losses.
What a wonderful resource for so many women who maybe don't even know that exists, right? Laurie, I have so many questions for Karen. Is there anything that you wanted to ask Karen?
Yes. So I just wanted to say, unfortunately that happens to lots of women, right, all over the world. And, you know, I thought it was interesting, one of the things you said of, you know, that's it. It's not that talked about of going through that process. You know, I lost number 5 also. And so after she was born, and, you know, she made it a couple minutes. And so, you know, and some people say, oh, well, if you lose it early or if you lose it later, or, you know, it's different or whatever, it was still a real life, and it's still the loss. But so many women do go through that. And I wonder if you could, you know, we have your book listed, you know, on the website for people if they want to look it up and order it or anything like that. But if you could give like one tip of something, maybe an excerpt out of the book, or a thought that maybe somebody that's watching right now that maybe is going through that process, or has gone through that process, and maybe is in that place that they're not, you know, okay with it or whatever, that, you know, just one little tip that you could help them with before they go and buy your book.
I think what comes to mind is, I mean, through the book, I just kind of talk about how I made it through each journey, because each one was so different. And I think, like you said, like Aaron was my last baby, and I probably carried that baby maybe for 9 weeks. Like, it was such a short period of time, but yet it impacted me just like it was so hard to recover from. But one thing I did is I wrote a book for each of the babies. And it just, like, I just chronicled the days I did carry them in my womb, kind of what happened. And then the thing that I really realized is that when we grieve someone who's died, we're grieving the past. But when we grieve a baby, we're actually grieving the future. And so, like, you'll walk into, it's like, oh, wow, they would have been 1 today, or it would have been their 21st birthday. And I think we don't, it seems weird to grieve the future. And so I think that's just something that I talk about a bit in my book, and also just to recognize it's real.
I was so going through in my head what you were saying. I was just right there, because we all have so many things in common, and that's one of them. And I'm sure that our visitors and our audience tonight, either, if it's not themselves, know of a woman, parents, a couple that have gone through the loss of a child at any week 1, week 9, right, week whatever that is. This book that you wrote could possibly give them another, like, an insight to what, maybe how they can talk to them, right? Sometimes we don't know what to say to someone, and that would be a great tool for them. So thank you for sharing, and for writing that book. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, but you're teaching us all, and we're so blessed to be able to have this in our life. I want to talk about gratitude a little bit. You know, think about, and I know that you say that you're grateful for so many things. Is there a particular story that you would like to share with us tonight? Maybe you have more than one, and we'll have to have a whole series of, but is there one story in particular that you would like to share with us that you're grateful for?
Wow. Well, maybe I'll talk about how we moved here, because I just, like, I always think about it every time I walk in the house.
Okay.
Since Laurie just got in her new house, it's kind of appropriate, right?
Yes.
Well, I did not want to leave Massachusetts, just because, I mean, that's where we buried Hudson, our first son. And there was just so many attachments. I felt like it was a ripping away, but I just felt like we needed to move because Dwight had tried to look for a job in Massachusetts. It just wasn't working out. So we just felt like it would be nice to be closer to our parents who live in Indiana and Michigan. So anyways, Dwight had a dream that in the dream, there was a FedEx truck, and it pulled up to the house. And so the guy got out of the truck and handed him this FedEx package. And so we just really both felt that we were supposed to move. And so we put our house on the market. It was 3 days before Christmas, and we had a flood, and we had 3 full price offers. So we're like, okay, we're supposed to move. And so I just prayed through that and just did have a piece that we were supposed to go. Well, it was 9 months before God put us in our house here in Wheaton, and we had to live in a hotel room for 40 days and 40 nights before we got the key. But we wanted this house, so we waited. But anyways, it was so cool because when Dwight did get a job in downtown Chicago, the FedEx truck came and pulled up and handed him the job offer and a FedEx thing. So when we got to our house in Wheaton, there was this bookshelf that it's like this built-in bookshelf. And when we were in the midst of moving, someone come up to me and they're like, "Oh, God has answered so many prayers in your life, and he doesn't want you to forget those." And so I had this idea. So I have, and the built-in bookshelves are now my prayer wall. So everything on that wall is an answer to prayer. And so that FedEx package is like front and center. But anyways, it's just been really fun to see, like, even my kids put things up on the wall. So like, it's just like this really awesome reminder, either whether we're in that living room reading or when we walk in the door, it's just like all the things that we're thankful for are right there before our eyes.
That's so beautiful. So tell us a little bit about what you've put up on that wall.
Oh, wow. I have a lot of things. Well, one of the things that God's always impressed on me, it was always hard for me to understand what grace was, because I don't know, I just felt like it just was a hard concept for me to grasp. And so I was actually in college and I was on a singing tour. And so we were in Vienna and we went out to have a snack. And this guy came over to our table and he's like, "I see you guys are Americans." He's like, "My daughter was an exchange student in Ohio and I've just been wanting to bless an American." And so he's like, "Do you need help with the menu?" And we're like, "Sure." So he calls the waitress over. He orders us a 3-course meal, pays the waitress, and leaves the restaurant. So we're just like, what in the world? So anyways, so we're just like, had this amazing gourmet meal. We didn't pay anything for it, but it was ours to take and enjoy. And I just felt like it was such a great picture of grace. It's like a very favor. It's like it was all paid for, but we still had to eat it. So anyways, ever since then, I feel it's like the free food anointing. It's like whenever I get discouraged or something, like someone will just come up and offer me free food. And it always reminds me, God, your grace is free. I can't do anything to get to you, but you've given me the gift of grace. So anyways, I have a lot of free food things on the prayer wall. I hope that wasn't.
That's a great story. No, I have another question before I ask Laurie if she has a question for you. If you were going to give some advice to our audience tonight about gratitude, I mean, you could give many pieces of advice because obviously that's in your wheelhouse. But if you could choose one thing to highlight, what piece of advice would you give to all of us?
Well, I just think that in every area of our life, like if you think about like your body, there is always something to be unhappy about. And so I feel like gratitude is like a search, and to just find something in that area. I've actually written a little book. I haven't published it yet, but there's 12 areas that I thought that you can use as a springboard for gratitude. And so I have a series of questions for each one of those areas to find and look for the thing that you're most thankful in that area, even if there are things that you're dissatisfied with. And so that will just cultivate, it'll kind of prime the pump to help you be more thankful in that area. So I guess just look for those things, even in areas that you feel, discontent in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. I love that. Laurie, before I pass the show over to Kathryn, may I do that now, or did you have something that you would like to say? I can do that. Okay. So Kathryn, we like to do something with our show, and we think it's really fun, where we basically give it to you. We're going to hand the show over to you. And in doing that, we're going to answer any question that you have for us. Let Laurie and I know who the question is directed to, and please ask us each a question, unrehearsed, of course, and we'll be happy to answer you.
Well, Laurie, I just want to know what you love about your new house.
What do I love about my new house? Gosh, that's hard to say because I love everything, literally everything about our new house. So when Kevin and I decided that we first were going to start looking for a house, we wrote down, you know, like the real estate agent tells you, write down all your things that you want. And so we had our list, and anything that you disagree on, you know, write that down also. So pros, cons, what you both want, and what either one of you doesn't want or whatever. And literally everything matched. Other than he wanted a pool, and I was like, well, I'll take a pool or not. You know, I love a pool, but I don't have to have it, where he like was wanting, he had to have it. But like we both wanted the ranch style 1-story. We both wanted brick. We both wanted secluded, where you pull up in the driveway and it's trees all the way around. But then when you pull up into it, then it opens up to a nice open space. And then of course he wanted the pool part. I wanted a garden. And literally when, so we had looked for about 6 months, and we had just decided we're not going to find what we want, because even the brand new custom homes that we looked at that were at the top of our budget, we still wanted to do like $50,000 to $100,000 worth of work before we move into them, just because that custom builder didn't have what we, you know, didn't do what we wanted. And so this house, a friend of mine sent me, that she happens to be a real estate agent also, but she just happened to send me this house like out of the blue. Hey, this was cute. I thought it looked like something that you might like. And so I looked at it and I showed it to my husband, and I was like, this looks really cute. This really looks like what we've been wanting. And we were literally on our way from our house in Columbia to Smyrna, where his youngest son lives, to go on a date with him and his fiance. And this house was another hour the opposite way. And he was like, well, let's just go take a drive before we go out. And I was like, it's the opposite way. He goes, let's just go take a drive. And so we did. And it's way out in the sticks. It's a very secluded driveway. And I was like, we can't drive up the driveway because, you know, this is, you know, it's not like a neighborhood where you could just drive by the house and check it out, right? And he was like, it's on the market. It's okay. They know that people are going to be driving by. I'm like, we're not driving by. We're literally driving up the road. But so we drove up it. We didn't get out or anything, but we literally drove up it, and we both felt like God said, this is home. So like we were ready to put in an offer before we even saw the inside of the house. But so I texted the agent, and we got to look at the house the next day. And then the very next day after that, we came out to look at the house again with my dad, who used to be a custom home builder, who was going to head up us building our own custom home. We had finally decided that we were going to stay in our own home for like 5 to 6 years and custom build. And so had my dad come out to check out the house, you know, for his side of knowledge and things. But it's just literally, we call it our paradise home. It's just because that's it. We love every single thing about it. Like the only thing that we did moving into this house was we put in hardwood floor, and we had the whole interior painted. And that was it. I mean, there was like, everything was exactly the way we wanted it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Oh, and then Kathryn, I would love to know, what's it like living by Niagara Falls? Because I've been there a couple times and I just love it. Do you actually go there all the time, or?
Thank you for asking. So we live in Niagara on the Lake, which is about 20 minutes from Niagara Falls. I mean, maybe it's 25, maybe it's 17. We used to live in St. Catharines. So when we lived in this Niagara region in St. Catharines, I would always bring my clients to Niagara Falls, and we would set our intentions. So I call clients ambassadors because it's the terminology that I use. So I do go to Niagara Falls with friends, with clients, with ambassadors, and we set our intentions, because the power that, you know, how the water is falling, right? You just see the power that that water has. When you hear it and you see it, and then the mist comes up and you're watching those falls with the colors at night, you know, you can see the different colors. And during the day, of course, it's just like a cloud of white. I find that very calming. And when we're working with something or someone, we go there and we sometimes throw amber crystals into the falls. Like there's a bit of a forest area. Our friend Carolyn and Elena, we went last year and we were throwing like these little beautiful pieces of crystal there, along with our wishes and our intentions. It's a fun area to live in. We're in wine country. Of course, with what's going on in the world, it's changed a little bit, but this was still surrounded by grapes and peach orchards and plum orchards and nectarines, and a vineyard is right, like we see it at our kitchen window. We're watching the farmers every morning, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. So it's the first time we lived in this section. And I would say for us, just like what Laurie said, it's a piece of paradise for us. It really gives us such a calmness. We really love it here, like where we are. We're about a block from the water, so 3,000 steps there and back and around. We can, you know, add a couple of steps to our Fitbit, and it gives us a sense of being grounded. I really find that when you're surrounded by green space and plants and trees, and you take a walk and you just pull a plum off a tree or a nectarine or a peach, there's something about that, because we never really did that before. I thought, you can't go into the farmer's orchard and just pick a peach, can you? And sure, they don't really care, right? It's like, it's one peach, you know, we live here. So it's amazing. And I would love to go more to the falls. And I think I will do that now that we live right here. We've already visited in the last 3 months, we visited twice. So I think it would be nice to say that once a month we'll go to the falls and set our intentions. Thank you for asking.
I love just to travel, and we've done that every year. We've taken a family vacation. It's just always been kind of a highlight. I actually didn't think we could travel with kids, but we had a wedding that we wanted to go to when Jonathan he hadn't even turned 1 yet. So, but anyway, so it all worked out. So ever since then, we've been able to go on vacation. And I just think that, you know, just exploring together as a family and just being in beautiful places together, it's really given us so many amazing memories. Matter of fact, that's another book I'm working on. It's called Let's Go, How to Take a Family Vacation That Everybody Will Love, just from all the tips I've learned from traveling and all the mistakes I've made, but also just like the good memories we've built together. So
that's another very useful tool to have in someone's toolbox, to have in our toolbox. I really believe that Niagara Falls is one of the 7 wonders of the world. To me, that's what it is, because people come from all over the world, right? Wasn't it really known to be like a honeymoon place? Many years ago, I feel like that's where people would go for honeymoons, right? They'd go to Niagara Falls. So it's a very touristy, you know, area, because, well, there's a casino. Things are not open right now, but there are things for children and things for couples. So it does have a touristy feel. And I felt like, Laurie, remember when we were in Vegas for one of the conventions, when I walk down Niagara Falls, I don't know, I just feel like I'm in, like, it's not exactly the same, of course, you know, but I sort of get that feeling, right? Like there's that energy there, and I really like it. Busloads of people were coming before COVID. So it brings a lot of joy, and definitely a lot of people, and you can feel the energy.
I love we've gone that, you know, like you're driving there and you're not there, but you can see that mist rising up.
Oh, yes, I love it.
And it's like, oh, wow, I can't wait to see the real thing, you know?
And I love that I can see the U.S. side, like we're on the Canadian side, right? So we're like, there's the U.S., right? So we're watching the people over there and they're watching us over here, and there's this little bridge that we can cross. It's fascinating. Yeah, thank you so much for asking that. I love this part of the show where we we turn it over and we get to hear your question, and then we get to answer, because when it's it's not rehearsed, right? So we really don't know what you're going to ask us. We have to be able to like think about that and give you a real good answer, because we want to make sure that we're answering the question too. Well, Kathryn, let me ask you something we've never done before. I'd love to spring new things on you, on all of us. Being on the Gratitude Girls show tonight, like you have been, can you highlight something, an experience that you have? Obviously, it's your first time, that you can share with our audience. What is it like being on the show tonight?
Well, I mean, I was nervous, but I was just trying to, before I came on, I was just thinking of all the things I was thankful for. And I just think it's amazing how when we're grateful, it like changes us. You know what I mean? And I just think it's what a great atmosphere to come on a show that the focus is gratitude. And I just think that that just really meant a lot to me, just to how I was thinking about being thankful and how that helped me not be quite so nervous.
Oh, well, you're a natural conversationalist, and you have so many great tips for us and for our audience. I'm sure that our audience will have questions for you. Laurie, do you have another question for Kathryn?
Let me see. So Kathryn, so you said you're gonna write another book on vacations, and so that's one thing too that I remember when I was a young mom, I always wanted to, go on vacations, and we were broke. We could barely, put food on the table, right? So at that time, and then so that was always one of my dreams. And then once we got to the point where we could start going on vacations every year, I was like, our first one, and we struggled, I remember, but it was actually the company that Kathryn and I are in. It was one of our conventions, and that year the convention ran over two of my kids' birthdays. So one is born on June 5th and one's born on June 8th, different years, but I've never missed one of our company conventions, and I had never missed one of my children's birthdays. And I was like, and I'm not starting now. So we've got to figure this out. And so we were at that point where I was making a lot more money, but not really where you could already fly a family of 5, actually a family of 6. So at the, I mean, all the way to Vegas, for a week and spend the money that you spend there. So, but I was trying to add it up, and I was like, okay, I think we can make it. I think we can do it. And so we did, and it was just so fun and so amazing. And we made it, I had my meetings there, but then the rest of the time was the family, and we just worked it out. And I decided then, we're never skipping this. We're having a family vacation every single year. I don't care if we have to eat grass in the backyard, we're going to make it work. So, and thankfully my income kept rising. So that was a good thing. But I think it's really important. And so tell us like one thing that cause I know like for me, it's, you're creating memories, you're capturing moments, and especially with your family, like it's, business, you want to make the money, you want to do the things so you can have better things or whatever, but the family's always been the most important to me, and so tell us the same thing, like one tip that you would say that you're going to end up putting in that book of, if you're a mom that wants to take her family on a family vacation, do this or don't settle for that or whatever. Tell us one thing.
Well, I just think that there is, if you want to do it, like there's a way to do it. You know what I mean? Like whether it is eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or just, there's a way to figure it out. Like when they were little, like we would get a hotel room and then we'd bring a tent and they would sleep in the tent and we'd have the one bed. I mean, we did like just like creative ways that you can, fit it into any budget pretty much, you know what I mean? But just that to realize that make it a priority, because I really do feel like it's so interesting. Like, I mean, this didn't happen overnight, but like when we went, were able to go on vacation this year, which we weren't sure we were going to, but because of COVID, but it all worked out. But my kids were like excited to get in the car for a long car ride. And I mean, it wasn't always like that when they were little, but just overall that cultivating of all those years, like, you know, they wanted to go on a long car ride. So I thought that just showed something for all the seeds that we had planted.
That's so great. I'm certain that I could think of 6 people right now who need to know everything that you both talked about and what you wrote about. I really love that we can talk about business and family, and we can talk about what happened and what's going to happen, and we can share that, and time just flies. Like I don't want to look at the clock. I don't want to do that, but I know that we've been having such a good time, and our audience, we get to watch the show as you do as well. Like I rewatch the show over and over again, because when you're in the show, you sometimes like miss some of the things that are going on because you want to make sure everything else, as we're executive producing tonight while we're live, I want to make sure that I didn't miss a word and that I get everything out of it. But Karen, I do want to say, or give you an opportunity, if there's something that you'd like to say to someone, then please do. And I want to be able to thank you as well. So if there's something that you have to say to someone, please take the opportunity to do that and give a shout out.
Well, I think one of the illustrations that has always stuck with me is that sometimes we try to run to the sunset, but a lot of times the only way we can get to healing is to turn and walk into the darkness, and that's where we'll find the sunrise. And I just think that just really being honest about our pain and being really trying to find hope in the midst of darkness. And that was, if you read my book, that's one of the things you'll see, why I titled it Learning to Parent in the Light in a Dark World. But just that family is a treasure, and also family can be hard. Family can bring out the worst in us. And I'm actually writing another book. I shouldn't write too many at once, but I'm kind of birthing 4 at once. But anyways, one of the things I put in there is just like when I was homeschooling, I'd be surprised how fast I could go from being totally peaceful and happy to being angry. And I just feel like homeschool has also transformed me into a more loving person, just as I saw my weaknesses and need. But anyways, I've just enjoyed that. And so just that, especially with families who are maybe homeschooling, I call it crisis schooling because it's not really homeschooling, but just that, you know, don't be discouraged if there are conflicts and hard things, and there is hope to work through those things and find healing and help in every circumstance.
Thank you, Karen. We appreciate that. What a good time we're having speaking with you. Laurie, imagine that our guests are listening tonight saying, I want to do that. I want to be Karen. I want to be with Karen. I want to be in Karen's position to share all these things that are going on in their life. Can you tell our audience, and again, Karen, thank you so much for being here and hang out with us a little bit more, please. Laurie, can you tell our guests, what do they have to do in order to be on our show?
Yes, so absolutely. So if you are interested in being a guest on our show, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/gratitudegirls and click on the message spot and type us your message. Type us your gratitude story, what you're thankful and grateful for, and your contact information, the best way for us to get back in touch with you. And we will get a hold of you and check our calendars and see when is the best fit for us to get you on one of our shows.
Oh, there I go. Unmute myself. I want to thank you so much for being an amazing partner for all these years, and to share our dreams together, and to move around the world, and to move in different homes and have our lives transform and have our lives blossom together. It really, it's amazing how Gratitude Girls ended up to be the fit and exactly the puzzle piece to my life, and how I can share gratitude every single day and then have video recordings of what it is that we're grateful for in the moment that brought us together. It is a video blog of 8 years. And this is so valuable. What a treasure it is to be able to do this. Karen, thank you so much for being here. Laurie, I never miss a show, neither do you. So to our audience, we're here, rain or shine, fourth Tuesday of every single month. And we look forward to that. If you want to be on our show, then Laurie just told you what to do, and enjoy watching this show. And thank you for being here with us. Laurie, from my heart to yours. Let's see if I can do that. It's easy, right? You want to make a good heart. And Karen, thank you for being here. So Laurie, until next month.
9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific. And if you want to see any of our past shows with some of our other amazing guests, like Kathryn said, we've got going on 8 years of shows every single month, and some amazing speakers that you can see all of our past shows at gratitudegirls.com.
That's almost 96 shows, Laurie. Is that right? Wow. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Until next month.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.